everybody, Shona here with another episode review of House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 7, and wow, the red sewing really knocks it out of the park. Okay, so, excuse my fan if you hear it in the background, it's quite hot today. Hopefully my audio sounds better. I've got a new mic again, well, microphone, headphone combo, but hopefully it's better than before. Okay, so, Damon got humbled at Harrenhal by Lord Oscar Tully, and I enjoyed every moment of it because that was a master manipulation that Oscar immediately turned the whole situation around and punished Lord Blackwood for kind of disobeying and going against the River Lords and the Riverlands for Damon, which, Damon does kind of supersede all of that, but like they kept pointing out, which was great because Damon needed to hear that because his ego has grown far out of control, that he is just the king consort. And they kept saying it over and over, and they even called him my prince a few times too. It was hilarious. It was so great. And then we had Crypt Keeper Viserys showing up to offer Damon the crown, and in the Inside the Episode segment, I believe Ryan Condal said that Patty Constantine said that he would do the scene, but only if he was in the decrepit Viserys makeup. So Crypt Keeper Viserys offered Damon the crown. I don't know if he took it or not, but it's become super clear that Damon is not fit to rule. He's an amazing soldier. I don't even know if he's a good strategist anymore because now I'm reevaluating the whole thing with the Triarchy and how he went on that suicide mission just because he didn't want to wait for his brother's help. And then plus he literally killed the messenger who brought the letter from Viserys, so I don't even know if Damon is a good strategist anymore. See, this really ruined his character at Harrenhal because he seemed very interesting in Season 1 and now Season 2 it's like he's just spiraling. He's just a mad dog. And the only one who could bring him to heal was a little boy. Rhaenyra can't even make her husband heal. Her husband, uncle. Oh, man. And Alice was nowhere to be seen this episode. Which makes me wonder, again, is she a specter? Was that her barn owl that he's been speaking with, her familiar? Because she was nowhere in sight, nowhere to give advice or give some more weirwood paste or whatever she's been giving him. And he's kind of still spiraling. And when he cut off Sir Wilhelm Blackwood's head, I'm wondering if that was even real or not, because just the way it was shot, it's like Damon's like, you could see him thinking like, what the hell is going on? And I was thinking like, what the hell is going on? Is that real? Especially when Sir Simon is like, oh dear. I'm like, is this even real? I mean, hopefully it is real and the Riverlands is wrapped up, because that would be a amazing end to Damon's arc, being humbled by a child. I really think that would be the greatest wrap up to the arc, and then he can get back to Dragonstone, or meet the Riverlands army, his Riverlands army with the Crownlands army, the Lannister army, Lannister and the army from the Reach and Hightower, Hightower, Tyrell, Lannister army. Well, Lannister's the Crownlands and the Tyrell is the Reach, but you guys know what I mean. That host that's coming with Daeron and the dragon to Serion. Either way, that should be interesting. So hopefully Damon leaves Harrenhal next episode in the season finale. And he leaves with the army, who has already pledged itself to Queen Rhaenyra. Not him. Daemon Targaryen, the king consort. Let's see, what else do I got? I wrote a lot this episode because it was just really okay. So I want to talk about my theory of how to claim a dragon and Rhaenyra and the dragon seed sacrifice. So during the Inside the Episode segment, Ryan Condal even said that it was a blood sacrifice. And then the dragon tamers said that the dragons are sacred. They're the last piece of magic from old Valyria, their old civilization. And in the opening sequence, we have the tapestry, and we have the Valyrians or Valyrian slaves, whoever they are, with the white hair and the pale skin. And they're making offerings to a dragon with a human face. And in mythology, that is actually one of the gods in disguise as a dragon with a human face. I actually have a video, like detailing that coming soon. I recorded it actually weeks ago. I just kind of been behind on doing everything. Rhaenyra basically gives a, as Ryan Condal pointed out, and as I kind of got that vibe as well, a religious cult meeting, to paraphrase, to prepare the dragon seeds for their impending doom. And I don't know why she didn't at least give them like a command in High Valyrian, like, serve Dohairis, or something. She just literally just told them to put their hand out. Like, how is that helpful? But then too, I was seeing a lot of people say this online, and it makes sense, and it's a little cunning, but I believe that's how Rhaenyra does work sometimes, especially with like the way that they killed that random innocent guy to allow Laenor to escape. I think Rhaenyra lets so many of the dragon seeds die, like when Vermithor started literally laughing, like the dragon was literally laughing. Same with Sea Smoke, literally laughing at Rhaenyra being pissed off at Adam before he swore fealty. Vermithor was literally laughing. He gave Rhaenyra a look like, "Are you sure about this?" And he started toasting them. And one of Rhaenyra's guards says, "We must away now." And Rhaenyra said no, and she watched all of those people die. And I think she had in her head what Jace had said about his claim and how it's very thin as it is, which, we're going to be real, it is super thin. But how his claim is already super thin, and then we have all these men and then women too, since, they want women on the throne now, so it's a lot of competition for him. There are some brown-haired and black-haired people in the mix, but it's mostly silver-haired people, and they'll be getting bigger dragons than Jace. So Jace would now have to contend with a silver-haired lowborn bastard, even though he's a highborn bastard with black hair, and they have bigger dragons than him, and they have a much better claim, if we're being honest, because Hugh Hammer is supposed to be the one of the three bastard sons, I believe, of Sarah Targaryen, who is Jacaerys, and Queen Alicent, whose dragon Hugh claims his grandfather's dragon, Vermithor. But Vermithor and Alicent, Vermithor and Silverwing were Jacaerys and Queen Alicent's dragons. That's who the dragon seeds were going after. So we have Hugh, who's the daughter of Sarah, who was the daughter of King Jacaerys the Conciliator, who we've seen in Season 1, Episode 1, who named Viserys his heir. And that would make him cousin to Viserys and Daemon. And then Ulf is supposedly a bastard of Balon, which would make him a bastard brother, half-brother to Daemon and Viserys, and it would be Rhaenyra's uncle. I had to pause for a second because, the Targaryen bloodline is like so much incest. But either way, these grown men, even though they are lowborn, these grown men have a better claim to the throne than Jace. And he knows it, and Rhaenyra knows it too, but at the same time, it's like, what else is she supposed to do? Which, it's really not a win-win situation, because she needs the dragons. She has no more heirs that can ride the dragons. So, I mean, it is what it is. And she can't keep killing off her household guard, basically. That was her Lord Commander who died. She lost Eric or Arik, whichever one he was, who was the loyal King's Guard. She's lost so many good people. She lost Wilhelm Blackwood, who was still holding a torch for her in the Riverlands just now. So, I mean, she has to get something. Stokeworth, I believe, or Beesbury, whoever that was, who was executed by Kristen Cole and told him that he can't wait for his end. And she lost all those soldiers too in that battle, the Battle of Rook's Rest, because Kristen Cole paraded all of Rhaenyra's allies first, and they got, torched by the dragon flame. So, I mean, okay. But anyway, going back to the dragon seed sacrifice. There was a very, very subtle emphasis of the dragon smelling certain people. Like the dragon had been, Sea Smoke had been stalking Adam for quite some time and trying to hang out at Spice Town, trying to find Adam because he smells like Lenore, and Lenore was his last rider. Rhaenyra probably knew that dragon anyway, but I also feel like if Rhaenyra didn't claim Cyrax, I guess when she was 7, they said, 7 years old. I thought she grew I thought the egg was in her cradle, like what she did with her kids. But I mean, either way, if Rhaenyra had not claimed Cyrax when she was younger, and if Cyrax had been riderless, I believe not Cyrax, and if Vermithor had been riderless, I think Rhaenyra could have claimed Vermithor based on their connection because he smelled her, and she most likely smells like her grandfather Jaehaerys, who was again Vermithor's last rider, and probably smells like her father Viserys. And Viserys' dragon was Balon the Black Dread. He was the last rider before the dragon passed away. So it's, succession of dragon riders. Oh, and Queen Alicent and Silverwing. So basically it's just a unbroken line of succession of dragon riders. So I think that's why Vermithor heeded Rhaenyra's command in High Valyrian. And I think that's why, again, like Sea Smoke claimed Adam because he smells like Laenor, and Laenor is his half brother, so there's already a relationship there. And again, with Ulf too, it would be his brothers. So Daemon's a dragon rider with Caraxes. Viserys had Balerion the Black Dread, and then his grandfather. I don't know who Balon's dragon was. Oh, Balon had the Black Dread too as well, right? And then the grandfather, again, Vermithor, and the grandmother, Alicent, had Silverwing. So the dragon smelled that ancestry, smelled that fresh, I guess the proximity to the dragon riders. It smelled that, and it smelled all the blood sacrifices as well. And I think that's why they were able to bond with those dragons. Because Viserys told Rhaenyra, it's an illusion that we control the dragons in season 1. And as we see, the dragons have their own minds. Like, again, I keep saying this, but Vermithor was literally laughing in the face of these dragon seeds. And the only reason I think Hugh survived is because he pulled a Jon Snow and he yelled at a dragon. And Vermithor's like, oh wow, you stood up to me. Finally, one of you amongst all these rabble stood up to me, and you have a good ancestry. Okay, I'll deal with you. And then, Ulf was just stumbling around blindly in the caverns, and he almost stepped on Queen Alicent's eggs, but the eggs are like impregnable. They're very hard, so it didn't matter. He didn't hurt the eggs. But apparently she's a docile dragon as well. I don't know why they didn't start with her. They started with fire and blood. Yeah, and she's like, oh, well, you came all this way. I guess we'll have some tea, and I'll take you for a dragon ride later, and we'll be friends. And Vermithor and Silverwing are mates as well, so, I mean, that's probably Vermithor's eggs that Ulf stepped on. But, again, it's just like, I think that's what it is. It's the smell and the proximity to the dragon's last rider, because I believe that certain dragons their like lineage is bonded to the bloodline. So like I remember the wild dragons, nobody's really been messing with the wild dragons, and they don't stay in Dragonstone because they're wild. They're not bonded to the Targaryen house's blood. So it would take more effort to try to tame one of those, and I think that's why Sheepstealer, maybe I don't know, maybe that's why Nettles, or I guess Rhaena, is having such a hard time with that dragon. And two, I think that the writer's willingness to sacrifice is what is taken into account, because Rhaenyra said she'd give her life for the throne. Viserys gave his peace of mind, and he gave his physical body for the throne. Aemon lost his eye, and he lost his reputation for the throne. Helena kind of lost her mind for her dragon, because she's plagued with visions and dragon dreams. And, the list goes on. So I think that's what it is. And, what's his name? Hugh's daughter just died too, which I know that isn't like technically a sacrifice. In the same way, like let's say Rhaenyra losing Visenya, who they said might have looked like a dragon, or Dany losing Rhaego, who they said might have looked like a dragon, and then the dragons being birthed. I mean, in Dany's case, so that was also like Mary Mazdor, Khal Drogo, and Rhaego. That's three. Death can pay for life, so that's three souls with magic and king's blood in exchange for the life of three petrified eggs, and then Dany gave her fertility to be the mother of dragons. And Rhaenyra and Syrax had laid eggs, so to speak, at the same time, and Rhaenyra lost her child, and she burned it, which is like a sacrifice, and then Syrax brought forth a new clutch of eggs. So I think that's might be how it works. Targaryen women often birth dragon-like eggs, dragon-like eggs. Targaryen women also often birth like deformed children who look like dragons, and they usually die, and then they get more dragons. So I think that's how it works. Only death can pay for life. So that's like part of their, I guess, blood sacrifice to ride dragons. And it also makes you think too, because I know they capitulated or they slept with dragons as well. And I don't know if the tapestry that's in Aegon's room now, which was Alicent's room, I believe. And it has a image of a sea snake and a human being having relations. And I was wondering if that's either like a literal Leviathan, or if that's meant to represent House Valerian, which is a sea snake, a Leviathan, a water dragon. I was wondering if that's to signify their intermarriage with the quote unquote sea snakes. And I think that what's his name? Corliss's house sigil is not a seahorse, but it's actually a kelpie. At least that's what it looks like on his uniform to me. And besides, like, why would a seahorse, Corlys Valerian, that proud man, would have a seahorse? Come on now, it's definitely a kelpie or some sort of leviathan. That makes much more sense. A leviathan than associated with deep waters, and he's a sailor, and he's of salt and smoke, like Alan said, and Alan's super boring. But finishing up, I just wanted to talk too about Alicent and how she went camping and went for a nice swim after she said that the Red Keep was dirty, and after Maester Orwyn, I think that's his name, I'm probably mispronouncing it, was stitching up her arm, and she saw a rat, which we know was Larys spying on her. And she went to get away, and the King's Wood was beautiful. It reminded me of like a Victorian or Edwardian era period drama. And she's walking through the grass, and there's foxgloves and tall grasses, and she's going for a swim. And I was like, this is nice. I'd love to see a spin-off, like it's set in Westeros, just of some happier times. Maybe in the Reach, because the Reach is supposed to be beautiful. And we can just have stuff like that. And them eating lemon cakes and gossiping, like the Real Housewives of the Reach. That'd be wonderful, instead of all this nonsense, because Alicent's about to come back home to a absolute crap storm. So, tell me your thoughts. Leave them in the comment section below. What did you guys think about this episode? I thought it was fantastic. I probably droned on a little bit too much about claiming dragons, but I thought it was just really fascinating, especially since in the Inside the episode, Ryan Condal's like, we're not going to get too much into how a dragon chooses its rider, but they showed it on screen exactly how a dragon chooses its rider, and it's a lot of factors, but ultimately it is up to the dragon and up to whatever magic bonds them of that specific dragon's lineage and that specific Targaryen, Valerian lineage. So it's interesting, but yeah, tell me your thoughts, leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you guys again in the season finale review. Bye bye.